Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
National Guard, our elite National Guard in the state of Texas, began their deployment as they were loading on planes in Texas, boarding for flights to parts of the country where they will be able to safeguard ICE officials and other federal officials as they try to enforce the laws of the United States of America.
You know, I know that you...
Hello, I'm Sheriff Grady Judd. I've spent my entire adult life in law enforcement, and I have never heard of one law enforcement agency not helping another when they call for help until this weekend, when a chief of patrol for the Chicago Police Department instructed the police officers not to run in and help their colleagues who were calling for help, who were under attack by a bunch of people clearly violating the law. That's scary. Let me give you the antithesis of that. We had a single man resist ICE agents and get away from them in our community. We sent a helicopter, a drone, K-9, and 50 law enforcement officers to surround an area, and we found that guy who violently resisted ICE, and we locked him up in jail where he should have been. If you allow anarchists and criminals to run wild in your community, people will die. People will be shot. Now let me say this. For other law enforcement leaders across this state and nation, you need to be standing up saying the same exact thing that I am. Because when you have a breakdown of the rule of law, when you allow anarchists, criminals to take over the streets and attack law enforcement officers and then not send them help, that's a slippery slope, a real slippery slope.
Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer.
Look around and find
You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger.
I want y'all to be made an example out of.
Following
These lunatics.
law enforcement agents around.
Deranged lunatics.
The question is why? What do you plan on doing?
I want y'all to be made an example
It's
out of.
also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you.
Black people in Chicago, let's get this clear for the record so nobody is confused, right? In 2020 and 2021, when Democrats, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, flooded Chicago with the illegal, undocumented criminal invaders, y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, right? When the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, gave them benefits, millions, prepaid EBT cards with $10,000 on it, prepaid Visa cards, 6 months worth of free rent, free healthcare, free childcare. Y'all were okay with that. And then you all continue to be okay with it by going out and voting for Kamala Harris to continue what she was doing with the open borders, right? Now that ICE is there to actually do something about it, right? With Trump's mandate, now you all are boohoo, whining and crying, complaining that ICE is coming to black neighborhoods. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Where else are they supposed to go when that's where y'all allowed them to go? You see, Democrats didn't put these illegals in Oak Brook or Oak Park or Evanston in any of the white neighborhoods, yet you got the white liberals downtown protesting to keep those people there because they know that they're in black neighborhoods. And y'all goofy. Y'all falling for this. Y'all voted for Kamala Harris, and now y'all are protesting ICE coming to black neighborhoods to remove these criminal invaders. Y'all are calling ICE racist for coming to the black neighborhoods.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, why are they coming to the black neighborhoods? Because that's where you all allowed them to go. So tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave.
Y'all, I'll never trust a brother with a mohawk. He got like a frohawk, half-top mohawk. Can't trust him. You know, ass need to be put in handcuffs. I'm serious, man. Need to go get this mayor, man. Make an example out of him. Brother, frohawk, mohawk daddy. Incompetent. You know. They should have been made an example out of him long time ago. Long time ago.
Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones.
ICE-free zones.
That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. We've got a bombshell today, folks. An absolute bombshell. After yesterday's attack in Broadview, where ICE agents were boxed in, allegedly, and had their vehicles rammed by a woman later found to be carrying a semi-automatic rifle, we initially had reports from the administration that Chicago police were explicitly told not to respond, not to aid federal agents who were being literally ambushed, attacked by violent left-wing Antifa terrorists. And well, now it's less of a claim, we have the actual proof. We have leaked audio and a screenshot that shows internal communication, now unequivocally proving exactly what the feds said. Let me show you guys what's going on. We also have some video footage of what happened on that day, and JB Pritzker's pathetic response as well. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So first off, take a look at this post here on X. This is from X Alerts. Evidence emerges confirming Chicago police were ordered not to assist federal agents that were cornered and surrounded by rider vehicles. A subsequent shooting occurred after a rider brandished an automatic weapon during the blockade. Now, I'm not sure if it was an automatic. I think it was semi-automatic. So let's just correct that on the record. But as you'll see right over here, it says caller is one of approximately 30 armed Border Patrol agents, ICE, who are being surrounded by a large crowd of people and requesting CPD. So that's the request from ICE agents who are being attacked and ambushed. And then what looks to be roughly 6 minutes later, Chief of Patrol, no units will respond to this. We've also got a leaked dispatch audio, which again confirms what we're talking about here.
Boy. Any kind of particular hairstyle, just younger, male, Hispanic, on foot, wearing all black. And one is for the hit and run. This guy fled from the scene at 37th Place in Kedzie. It all started at I-55 in Kedzie. Then they fled southbound at Kedzie, where that offending vehicle crashed. They ran the federal agent off the road. They fled on foot westbound 37th Place from Kedzie. It was a male Hispanic younger wearing all black clothing.
Send the cars in that direction. Have them stay put 2 or 3 blocks away, all right? Have them hold tight until I give you further direction, please. For the Chief of Patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
Radio check. And again, per the Chief of Patrol, we have all the units that per 999. Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location. All right, and 999, just to confirm, at 39th Place in Kedzie, they were saying that they were being surrounded by that large crowd, and they were requesting the police were not sending. I'm waving off all the cars heading to 39th Place in Kedzie.
Again, those are the orders we're being given.
For all the units that we called to go over that way, 39th Place in Kedzie, if you could just hold off 911, 913, 923, 924, 933, 934. just disregard that.
And so there it is, a clear directive not to assist federal officers during an ongoing armed ambush against federal law enforcement. Think about that. You had federal law enforcement officers under fire, and they were requesting CPD backup, and the city said, stand down. And that gets even worse when you see the footage of what actually happened. You can see an SUV pulling up behind an ICE vehicle and just starts ramming into it, trying to shove it off the road. Aggressive vehicular assault on federal agents. Yeah, again, I don't know how many times I have to repeat this. This isn't a protest. This is not peaceful protest and resistance. This is left-wing terrorism. And what's crazy is that Republicans, the Trump administration, can't get Democrats to help them. There's no way if this was happening to Democrats that Republicans wouldn't respond in force and in unity. But these Dems are so filled with hate for the other side that instead we get this, we get Governor J.B. Pritzker going on television and calling the whole incident, quote, propaganda.
DHS says that CBP officers shot and wounded a woman in Chicago yesterday after, they say, she allegedly rammed a law enforcement vehicle and agents were boxed in by multiple cars. The spokesperson for DHS, Tricia McLaughlin, accused Chicago police of leaving the scene and refusing to assist agents in securing the area. What do you know about this incident? Were federal agents boxed in and assaulted?
Well, we don't have a lot of facts. What happens in these sorts of incidents is typically ICE puts out a press release before anybody else can speak with the press, and then it gets reported on social media and elsewhere. Remember, these are the same folks who killed a person, unarmed person, just a couple of weeks ago in Franklin Park. At first, they said that the officer had been threatened with his life. The reality of it and the truth of it has now come out, and that wasn't the case. They killed somebody. So here, it's really hard to know exactly what the facts are, and they won't let us access the facts. They are just putting out their propaganda, and then we've got to later determine what actually happened.
He then made another post showing exactly who he is, writing a message here, as you can see, directed at Kristi Noem, not in support, not condemning violence, no, telling her to get out of Chicago. I think the takeaway here is pretty clear now, isn't it? A violent attack on ICE agents happened, Chicago police are told to stand down, and then the state's top Democrat starts mocking the people trying to enforce the law, and then takes the side of the terrorists, promoting their message, because that's exactly what they're trying to do, kick Kristi Noem and ICE agents out of Chicago. That tells you everything that you need to know. They're on the sides of the terrorists. You've got federal agents who are being assaulted every day. It's not just vehicular assaults, it's assaults, and then what you see here. You know, just riders on the streets throwing projectiles at ICE trucks, and the governor of Illinois, Democrat J.B. Pritzker, is taking their side. We always see the same thing from these Democrat politicians: protect the violent terrorists and try to flip the script and blame the feds, blame Donald Trump. Of course, only when Trump's in office, right? That's when ICE, the National Guard, the military, the FBI, that's when they all become Gestapo. When Donald Trump's in office, all of a sudden they're Nazi forces. When Joe Biden's in office and those same people are working for Joe Biden, then all of a sudden it's the men and women of law enforcement who should be given full authority to chase down every J6er in the country. And of course, this is coming from the party that in the last election tried pretending as if they were the party of law and order, they were the party of border security. Bernie Sanders told us nobody supports illegal immigration, but now when ICE is trying to do its job, enforcing border law, they call them the Gestapo, they call it fascism. And when a terrorist mob is attacking ICE on their behalf, they call it peaceful community action. Get out of our city. It's absolutely backwards. And again, these politicians keep pretending as if this violence is spontaneous, but it isn't. It's a product that comes downstream from their political rhetoric. There's a reason why these people feel so emboldened. There's a reason why this is happening in the first place, because it's what the politicians want. I think that's abundantly clear with now J.B. Pritzker's stance on this issue. They're doing his dirty work. When they see stand-down orders after a literal terrorist attack on ICE agents, what message do you think that sends? When they're throwing projectiles at ICE agents, and the governor doesn't say stop, no, he says, get out of our city, ICE. Well, they know that he's on their side. That confirms it. And so they keep going. These top Democrats need to be held accountable. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth. They say, oh, we don't support political violence, but here they are literally supporting it. Something has to happen here. There has to be a federal response and not just a law enforcement response. No, something that truly stings, like withholding funding, something to hold Democrat leadership accountable here. They are defending, running cover for literal domestic terrorism, and that cannot be overstated. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys.